ultimate guide to anything Filipino in Las Vegas. This is the Las Vegas Filipino Resource Guide radio show on PHLV Radio.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Loni Andal broadcasting from PHLV Radio, brought to you by Las Vegas Filipino Resource Guide. If I sound familiar for those this afternoon, we celebrated our installation of the Philippine American Chamber of Commerce of Southern Nevada. We are so proud, and coincidence would happen, one of our guests is here tonight. So let me introduce you to Dan Santos. And what does Dan Santos do? Well, he has the Sendwave company. And tell us what this is about, Dan.
Thank you so much, Loni. It's great to see you here again. And then a huge thank you to PHLV for having us. Also good to see you, Richard. So my name is Dan. I'm the U.S. market launcher for Sendwave. We're a new app. It's the yellow one with the penguin. You can find us in the App Store, the Google Play Store. And our mission at Sendwave is to make it fee-free for Filipinos to send money back to the Philippines. So really excited to share a little bit more about the app and show folks how to use it.
That is, did you hear that, Richard?
That's outstanding.
Richard Aguilar is my guest host tonight because he too is at the event on behalf of Medicare, Medicaid, because he is the Medicaid guru.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Loni. And I might add that now I cannot replace Mr. Gilbert Glorioso, of course.
Well, the show's not over yet, so you never know,
He is on his way to the land of Aloha, the ninth island, as we refer to it in Las Vegas. So I am very proud, very honored to be standing in today. And, this is something very, very exciting. When I was listening to you speak for a little bit, it really piqued my interest. I said, what are you talking about right now? What's going on?
So how often do you send money to the Philippines?
You know what? I would say pretty often, people don't realize that about, I'm going to say close to 20% of the Philippines' income as a nation comes from remittance.
Wow.
That's because of all the overseas Filipino workers all over the world, and including us here in the United States that support extended families back home. This is what we do, right? It's who we are as Filipinos. And when you stood up and mentioned, what you do, I said, this is revolutionary because I mentioned to you earlier, you'll see, there's online platforms to do this.
So
right?
explain to us, Dan,
please
yours.
Give us,
and how it differentiates
nuts and bolts
to what's already out there.
Yeah, definitely. So I know we're new to sending to the Philippines, but we've actually been around for a really long time. It's 7 years now. We were founded in 2014 by two engineers from Brown University who are very mission-oriented. They were supporting a nonprofit in Tanzania at the time, and they went through that traditional brick and mortar process, and it was just like a light bulb to them. Like, how is it 2014 and we're still waiting in line and paying super high fees to send money to support our cause? So that's how they developed the business model for our company. And we've gotten to the point where we can offer this fee-free, service to the Filipinos here in Las Vegas and beyond. And then we just make a small percentage on the exchange rate to sustain our business. But the thing is that most folks don't realize is there are a lot of players in the industry, especially the digital players, who will charge on the FX rate, but then they'll also charge you a fee. At Sendwave, we don't do that. And we still offer very strong exchange rates. So we're hoping more Filipinos will give us a try.
Fantastic. Can you kind of go into, I love the fact that there's no fee, but can you just explain real quickly, like, and people are going to ask, where does your that profit come in? Like in that process.
So
for you guys,
Yep. So it's a very small percentage on the exchange rate. You can check our app. It's typically 49.6 and above, just depending on the day. And that's enough to sustain our business since our overhead is very low. We don't have physical agents. We don't have physical branches, but we still have a huge team, really keeping up with the product and making sure that folks' money is protected, and everyone works from home 24/7 around the clock to keep this app up and running.
That's amazing.
And it doesn't cost anything to download it on your phone or your computer.
That's
Okay.
right.
So is this, for instance, for the Apple users, is this what, App Store, basically?
Yes,
Just-
that's right. App Store for the Apple users and
Okay.
Play Store for the Android.
Okay, all right. Okay, because Lonnie loves Samsung, and I love Apple, so I can't
Team
change
Apple
her,
all the way.
That's because Gilbert sends me the Samsung phone.
Okay, there you go, right?
So
Yeah.
you've been in with this company for how long then?
Since January, actually. So prior to this launch this year, we primarily served African countries, and then we also saw the need in Asian countries to expand, and that's where I was sort of hired. I think I've been on PHLV multiple times before, but it was more so for Asian American civic engagement work.
Okay.
But in terms of like the marketing we do and the outreach, it's very much rooted in community organizing principles. So I think it was a very good fit for me to take those skills and those experiences in Nevada, and then translate that for what I'm doing now.
So then you said Africa, now the Philippines, other parts of Asia?
Sri Lanka and Bangladesh right now, and then more to come. Stay tuned.
That's amazing.
And this is something that, like he said, you're 24/7. You could do this from home,
Yeah.
especially with people still wanting to work from home.
Yes.
Because it's still it's very trepidatious to be out there still, and for those who would rather be home if they have family, and it's a safer way to live for them, especially if they have challenge health issues. So what would a normal day for you to be? What would you start as your day, or are you on call 24/7?
So no day really looks the same. I think the thing is, it's a lot of working with people, right? Like figuring out who in the Filipino community is most motivated by sharing our service with the world. So I obviously do a lot of like interviews, present at organizations, different things like that. But then also it's a lot of data and seeing how we can grow efficiently, what channels we should be investing in, what decisions we should make strategy-wise in terms of pricing. So it's wearing a lot of different hats, which I really enjoy.
Typically what you're going to see because my Medicare team is always in the seafood cities and Island Pacifics and things like that. And so typically what you're going to see, standing in line, are, the age category of 55 and above. I'm going to say 55 and above. The, 55 and under, I wouldn't say not too much, but that age category tends to be that segment of our population that sends, quite frequently, because they still have brothers or sisters or sons and daughters in the Philippines, and they're remitting. So from a just simplicity standpoint, okay, like are you able to do a door-to-door type of situation with this app?
So we do hear that feedback a lot. There are folks who like door-to-door.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it's not something we provide right now.
Okay.
But something we are trying to educate folks on is using GCash, which is the mobile wallet of the Philippines. So like here we have Apple Pay right there. GCash is even more widespread. They got millions of users, and folks can just pay for things on their phone. But not a lot of people know they can take remittances on their GCash, and that's something that sends in minutes. And you literally like be able to just send to someone's phone, and they can pay for their bills with it. So that's something that we really want to educate more folks about.
Okay. Yeah.
So let me ask you this, because I've never had to do a transaction like that. If you had to show the A side and the B side of Sendwave and sending money the old-fashioned way, what are the differences?
So obviously, I think number one is the convenience, right? You can send from anywhere. You know, you can just download the app, and it really just takes minutes. Like, you don't have to stand in line or things like that.
Okay.
You have access to 24/7 support, so you don't have to, you know, wait for the limited hours that you can access a person. You know, you can always hop on our support line and get a hold of someone if you have any questions. And I think that's really, like, advantageous for our community. You know, we know how hard Filipinos work. You know, we got things going around the clock, as you all
Sure.
saw today. So I think it just makes it so much more convenient for folks, and I think it really is a game changer.
I know that when Richard was in the car, and we were just talking the other day, and he was doing his sponsorship, and, you know, the old day, I refer back to the old way we do it, you know, just bring a check, and then I said, no, just Zelly me.
Mm-hmm.
And within seconds, I got a text message saying he did so.
Yeah.
And what you're saying is it's as quick as that.
Mm-hmm.
To where 24/7, it's 2:00 in the morning. Oh, should I wait till 8:00 to go online and stand online, especially during the Christmas holidays, to be
Yes.
able to get this going? And now you're saying, oh, we forgot to send auntie this or my nephew that, and boom, it's there. So what is the transmittal time of when someone does that action? How fast is it transmitted?
Mm-hmm. So for Gcash and for cash pickup, it's minutes. And a lot of them go through, like, even in seconds. It just depends.
Excellent.
But you can take a look. You'll just be surprised. Like, your recipient will get the notification before you even let them know that you're sending money. And so for Gcash, they'll get it right on their wallet, which is super easy to use right away. For cash pickup, obviously in the Philippines, they still have to go to the physical office to pick it up. But they get the code right away, which is nice. And then they get all the offices that they can pick it up at. So we're partnered with all of the main players: Cebuana, Palawan Pawn Shop, M. Luhier, LBC. So it's really easy for them as well. And then for bank accounts, that's where it takes just a tad bit longer.
Okay.
It's 1 to 5 hours. But we got over 30 banks in the app. So similar to the cash pickup situation, all the main players are on there.
So let's just say I'm in the Philippines and I'm the beneficiary of, you know, you sent me some money, and I walk into a Cebuana, okay, to pick it up. Is there a fee for me to transact with them?
So there is no fee for the
Okay.
recipient either. They just got to show the text message with the voucher code
Right.
and show ID. And then the other thing to note that has come up a couple times, our processor partner is actually Metro Bank. So the text message is going to say it was sent via Sendwave by Metro Bank. So
Excellent.
that's just something that they'll have to show
Okay.
the teller. And then from there, they'll find it right in the system, and they'll be able to get their money.
Now, here's a question for all the retired people, okay? Because I have what they call what I call my Filipino snowbirds, okay? My Filipino snowbirds don't go to Florida. They do this whole 6 months in Las Vegas. Let me get my checkups and do my thing and go back to my house in the Philippines thing. Okay, so this question is for them. Okay, so and they all have to set up dollar accounts and all that kind of stuff and send money. So as far as, like, do you do like dollar to dollar?
So at
or
this
dollar
point,
to peso only, or
yeah, at this point we're only sending to peso,
Okay.
just because we do just make that small markup on the exchange
on the
rate.
exchange. Got it. Gotcha.
So that's how
Okay.
we sustain our business. But
Okay.
we've gotten that feedback before, so hopefully in the future we look into those other alternatives and see if we can adjust our pricing a bit to be able
Sure.
to provide that. But yeah, don't have a timeline on that yet.
And all the major banks, like
PNB,
PNB,
BDO.
Very good.
Yep, they're all on there.
This is
Amazing.
a no-brainer.
I love
mean,
it. Yeah.
you're talking about getting up in the morning, going online, especially during the Christmas holidays, standing online, and especially the senior citizens, if they're trying to
Yes.
send it to their grandchildren, spending another 2 hours. Of course, you're being exposed to more people at that time.
Yes.
And especially we still have the COVID. We know that. This is another way that sending money to the Philippines can be accomplished without you endangering yourself. Why wouldn't anyone
Amen.
use this?
Amen. Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, that's
yes.
a no-brainer.
Yes.
If you're listening out there, think of it.
Yeah.
You're not healthy, or you have health issues, but you want your grandson to have a Christmas present, boom,
Yeah.
do it on the phone.
Yeah, I'm really really happy to hear that something like this is around, and you know, predominantly all of my clients are, you know, from 65 and over, and I have a client that's 98 years old.
You told me.
Filipino lady. Still sends money to the Philippines, goes to the supermarket, stands in line with her daughter. Okay? And so that's the very traditional way, like Lonnie's saying. It's like, save yourself exposure. Yeah.
It's
Makes
yes,
sense.
especially for the older people. You don't want with the kids sneezing, someone's got the flu. You want to do the good thing, but you're putting yourself at risk. And we know we're trying very hard not to do anything to put anyone at risk. All the precautions to keep everyone healthy. Hey, folks, while you're thinking to send, you know, your sweet ones, your loved ones, friends, any type of money, this would be the way to do it without sacrificing yourself. We wouldn't want that to be done. So just think about it. That you could always do a tester. Send $2, send $5, and then tell your
Especially
person.
since there's no fee.
Yeah, and especially you just
Yeah.
text them and say,
Beautiful.
"Hey, did you receive it?" And then boom, oh, it works. They have received it, and let them build it up. Just like when they're trying to check your account on a charge card when you're ordering things online, it says just do $1.
Yes.
And so that's all we're doing. We're asking, you know, don't do 500, 200, whatever. Just do a few dollars to see if it goes through. And so you
Yes.
build the confidence that this is working for you.
Yeah. And on the same vein, so if someone were to do that, do you have a minimum?
Yeah, so our minimum is
So-
actually only $2.
There you go.
So around like
$2.
100
I mean,
pesos.
hey, it's
Yeah,
$2.
For
It's
peace
that's
of
less
mind.
than the fee.
$2 peace of mind. You have a peace
Right.
of mind.
In addition,
You know, for everyone else
we actually
anyway.
love our PHLV audience so much that we're giving away a special promotion for the
Excellent.
holiday season.
Okay, everybody
so
listen now.
If y'all apply the PHLV promo code in the app, all you have to do to apply the promo code is click on the upper right-hand corner on the person icon, and then click enter promo code, type in PHLV, and you'll get a free $5 credit on your first transfer that goes straight to your recipient. So you can actually just send $1, and then your recipient's going to wake up with $6 right then and there.
I love it.
In addition to that, I also want to raffle off $100 of free account credit for someone who sends and applies the PHLV code by the end of the year. So we'll have a surprise winner announced that first week of January, and that will get you a way to surprise your loved ones in the Philippines for the
That's
new
excellent.
year.
How often can you use the code?
So it's only on your first transfer, obviously.
Don't get greedy.
Luckily, we're new enough, right, where we hope a lot of folks will be able to take advantage of it. So
For anyone who's out there, think about it.
Yeah.
It is just a simple, I know people are challenged with the phones. I know that.
Yeah.
But once you set it up, the world is doing everything remotely.
Yes, that's right.
That's the way
Yeah.
it's going to be. Might as well jump on the wagon now. Give yourself, you know, peace of mind that you're getting this done. And again, look at what they're getting as a promo. Before Christmas, this is a wonderful thing. That's $100. They're going to be like, oh, thank you, Tita. Thank you, Tita.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be
Absolutely.
something that you did, and are you okay? Make sure that you're not standing on line, making sure that you are protected. And this is the way they can do it. If they, God
Yeah.
forbid, they're even in the hospital
Yeah.
and they're saying, oh, but I wanted to send money to my grandson or my family, and now I can't do it.
Yeah.
No one will go online for me. Well, guess what? Here you go. It's
Yeah.
as simple as that. Here you go.
You know, one thing I mentioned to all Filipinos, you know, that I come in contact with, is, you know, when you hear the term OFW, that means Overseas Filipino Worker. Okay, generally that term has only really applied to everyone that works outside of the Philippines in whatever job capacity that they're in or career that is not living in the United States or Canada. Okay, if you're living in the UK, guess what? You're OFW. If you're living in the Middle East, somewhere in Doha, you're OFW. Okay, and I tell people, well, so are we. We are absolutely OFW. Okay, I don't care if we're making dollars or whatever our currency is called. And I tell you, we work just as hard for the money that we make every day as everyone else out there in the world, every other Filipino out there. And so when something like this comes along, I'm, just telling you right now, I'm happy to endorse this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a huge changer because think about this, the average fee out there that I see, because I'm paying it myself, okay?
Yeah.
It's $8. Every time you go, it's $8.
Per
$8
transaction?
Per transaction.
Okay, so it doesn't matter what the amount is.
No.
But it's
No.
$8.
Well, it's more if it's
X amount of
let's just
dollars
say
over?
you're sending like $5,000 or something. Somebody needs tuition in the Philippines, right? Well, then they hike it up.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's as high as $17.
So it's a sliding scale according to how much you're sending.
Absolutely. So just imagine, you take that $8 that you're doing every 2 weeks. Hey, listen, it seems like a small amount when you break it down in dollar wise, but in peso that translates to meals.
I was going to say it's
Plural,
putting food,
hundreds
it's
of
putting
meals.
food on the
Yeah,
table.
it's putting
Yeah.
food on the table. It's a few more pesos that someone can use, like your loved one for
Medicine.
transportation or medicine or a hospital stay or something like that. So, just kind of looking at it from that perspective, that's why what we do here, all the remittances that we provide from Filipinos all over the world, it literally fuels a huge segment of the Filipino economy. Without it, it would be detrimental.
And that $8 that you would have spent
Mm-hmm.
could go for something smaller because that $8 will be triplicated once it gets to the Philippines?
Absolutely.
And there are people who send every week. It's
Yes.
wild.
Yes, they
and,
do.
And,
Absolutely.
just that adds up.
Yes.
Like we've heard folks say, "Oh, I'm happy with my current provider. I'm just paying a few dollars." But then
Yeah.
when
It
you're
adds up.
sending every week,
Adds up,
right?
yeah.
Like that's a huge amount
Yeah.
of money that could go to your loved ones. So
Yeah. And so
Exactly.
and Loni knows, and she and I've, we know a lot of casino workers, do we not?
Yes,
You
we
know,
do.
And how many of them are 70s and 80s, still working in the
Still
casino?
working. Yes.
So not for themselves,
No.
but so they could
Send money
remit.
to the Philippines. Yes, it's true.
Yeah.
Because to them,
Yeah.
it is a privilege to be able to still be employed, to make the money that they make, even though it may, they may be a busboy, but they may be a waiter, because a lot of Filipinos did come to Las Vegas in the 70s and 80s because it was of service. And it was like, wow, I could make not just $300-400 a week in salary, but make $300-400 a week in tips. I will tell you, for those out there know that I used to perform on the Strip, and I was at the Royal Inn, which is on Convention Center, and when I take my break, I'd sit down where my so-called dressing room was, which was on the other side of where the waitresses would check in. And every night I'd hear from the other side of the curtain the sound of metal, like chiking, chiking. So finally I just pulled the curtain, and there was the cocktail waitress. And in those days, they used to have the big $1 bills in silver. And she was just cascading, making her little rows of 20, 40, 60, 80. And I was 21 at the time. So I was like, wow. And she heard me and she said, oh, it's a slow night. She had about $300 in the silver $1 bills on a Monday night, and it was a slow night. So was there any question why people would come to Las Vegas to live the life that we do? That $300, if she was in the Philippines, how long would it take for her to make $300?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So
Even
that-
if you're a
that-
doctor.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, really.
That's what the appeal is
Yes.
when you're coming from a third world country and you come here. The flourish of life, of what you can buy and have, is so minuscule to what you came from. So it's amazing that the Filipinos, when they come here, they really appreciate not just the opportunity, but to live the life they do. And I guess you get a little conscious of knowing what your cousins or brothers and sisters are going through, that they don't have this opportunity. So you sending them 500 or 1,000 could take them through 6 months of a better life. So it's very, very small of what you're doing, and giving the service that you have that's not going to cost them an arm and a leg. And like you say, oh, it's $8. Yeah, but at the end of the month, if you're sending every week, that's $36. So wouldn't that be better off to have, hey, I'm going to send them 300 this week and 300. No,
Yes.
it's not costing you anything.
Yeah.
They get the full value of
That's
that
huge.
money. It's huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know when my dad came to the United States, this was 1942, he was a window washer. People were not hiring Filipinos or anyone of color in jobs. They were doing really labor jobs. And that was like maybe $30 a week. And he was still finding way to try and get money when someone was going from New York back to the Philippines, because they didn't send it at that time. But you want to be able to say, hey, I'm eating every day this week. I could save some money and send it to my family out there. And I think what you're doing now, there's a lot of people, like you said, they could be sitting home, taking care of the kids, taking care of their parent, and still providing a service that so many families are going to benefit by.
Yeah.
So you said you were raised in Chicago.
Yeah.
So what did Dan do in Chicago before he did this?
Yeah, so it's really a long story, and I'm glad,
I got some time.
I'm glad that you touched on your immigration narrative as well, or
Yes,
your father's,
yes.
because I think that's what really inspired me to do more for the Filipino community here. We talk about remittances. My mom was actually born and raised in Tondo in Manila, which is like
Yes.
a really tough part of the Philippines. And it was actually a loan from a relative of $5,000, a relative who was working abroad, that allowed her to pursue her college degree in nursing and be able to like come here through an agency. So I look back at that act of remitting, of supporting a loved one. And that is what, unlocked all of these opportunities for me to be born and raised here. I think about it a lot. I'm sure y'all do, like, the fact that we're just like a generation or two removed from completely different circumstances, right?
Yes.
And I think that's why, especially here in Vegas, the Filipino community does so much. I think regardless of whatever generation you are, there's that feeling of wanting to give back. And I think that's something that I really experienced in my career. I actually studied accounting in college because I just had a lot of familial pressures, obviously second generation immigrant, and you're the first one to be born and raised here, and folks were like, oh, you got to do something stable, you got to play it by the book. And then I realized I hated it. It was just way too boring for me. I didn't want to be sitting behind spreadsheets 24 hours a day. And then so I quit my job, and then I moved out here, and I worked in education for a couple years and became a community organizer on the side. And I think that's where I really found this deep appreciation for being involved in the Filipino American community, and I wanted to really make it something that could be at the forefront of my career. So when I first got hired by Sendwave, I was actually working on a different country. I was leading the launch for Cameroon, but I was really pushing the leadership team to look into the possibility of expanding to the Philippines. So that's what brought me here.
So say if someone out there who's listening right now wants to find some more details to possibly be not a caregiver, but someone like you to be in that position, how would they get in touch? Do you have a number, an email, since you're not working out of an office? Do they find that information on the app? How do they get that information going?
Yeah, so I'm obviously more than happy to support anybody in the community who needs help with the service, being from here now and just hoping to support the community further, because I know it's something that folks might not be comfortable with at first. I'm more than happy to walk y'all through it. So you can email me at dan@sendwave.com. That's SENDWAVE. And then you can also give me a phone call. My number is 224-381-4379. But I think most folks will honestly not have a hard time with the app. If y'all look on YouTube, you can search Sendwave, send money to the Philippines with no fees. Download it in the App Store or Google Play Store, and then there are directions in-app that can guide you as well. And then we also have that 24/7 support hotline that they can access just by clicking the question mark in the app.
So let me ask you this. Today is Thursday, the 4th. Is there a way for you to track if all of a sudden you have a lot of activity from the Vegas area, so you can see if people were paying attention to what we were just saying, that, all of a sudden people are sending, even if it's the $2 trial, that they're starting to send it, so you can see, we're reaching them.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be
Yeah,
able to see
definitely.
that.
So we can see like the region breakdown of where our users are coming from. But in addition to that, don't forget to apply the PHLV promo code.
Absolutely.
You want to take advantage of that free $5 credit, and then that attributes that to the channel, because I know PHLV Radio has been doing so much to really push the service out there, and we're so grateful. And in fact, we soft launched the product in Vegas, and Vegas has been our #1 sending region in the U.S. so far. So I'm very proud of that. Number 2 is LA, where we've also been doing a lot of work. And we really just want to focus, city by city. I think it's one of those things where, we don't have the marketing budget of the Western Unions and of the big players, but I think we can take this city by city, organization by organization, and really build from the ground up. So that's what we want to do, because we're here to stay. Like a lot of the times when folks hear fee free, they ask, all right, how long, how long is this promotion going on? But this is our company's mission. So that's what we really want to be able to provide.
So if they want to find information, can they Google it on sendwave.com?
Mm-hmm. Yep, that'll bring y'all to our website. You can read a little bit more about our story and our founders. And then, read all of the reviews on the App Store. We're very highly rated. Like I said, been around for 7 years. We're actually backed by world-class investors, like the same folks who funded Airbnb, Dropbox, and PayPal. Obviously huge companies now, but at one point they were just an idea, right?
Right.
They're also funding us. So we really want to be able to be that #1 solution for remittances and make sure that folks, don't have to pay, those fees ever again.
Well, the vision I see is what the companies that you just mentioned, PayPal and BNB, BNB, 20 years ago, they were the new start company. And a lot of people didn't know PayPal or BNB or any of the other ones. So that when they launched, everyone probably, turned their nose at it, disbelief. And it takes a while for the population to trust it and start using it. So I see and I predict what you're doing now will have the same effect probably in less than 10 years because of the population that we have here in Las Vegas of Filipino Americans.
No, it's just booming.
It's just booming.
Growing and
Really
growing.
is.
Yeah, I think, and kudos to you, because you're not looking for something that's, how would you say, about corporate and money and titles. You're doing something of service. So that's very, very commendable.
Thank
and
you.
You're a young person. My God, I feel like grandma over here. You're a young person, and you're looking at something that, from the heart, it does your heart good.
Mm-hmm.
And and
You can't beat that.
You can't beat that.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
It's the best feeling in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, y'all know the feeling. I'm just
I
trying
do.
to follow in your footsteps, because
Oh, man.
I've seen it here. Like you guys have paved the way, and we saw it at the event today. It's very intergenerational, and I think it's very rare to see that in other places. That's why we got such a special community here.
Well, today's launch, because Kate had been sick. Kate Recto is my president for the chamber, and when she got sick, and she was trying to hide it from me, and we were originally going to launch in August. Wasn't it August, Richard?
Yes.
Was it August? And then I couldn't get a hold of her, and I said, finally I got it. And she told me, heartbroken, that she was in the hospital, and her brother also, was a dear friend of mine, Bobette Torres. He was in the hospital, and to me it was just, I was stunned. I was driving and I had to pull over because I was just stunned. There have been many of us that have gone through losing someone this year, whether it's a
Absolutely.
friend or a relative,
Yeah.
and you don't have a chance to say goodbye. You just get it on a phone call or a text message. And when you know people and you've known them 20 plus years, it's heartbreaking. And she was so depressed in that we started this chamber last year thinking, oh, this COVID will just fly over and, we'll be okay, and let's have our next meeting. Well, prior to our next meeting, everybody was closing down. And we were on the phone, and I said, do you really think this is getting scary? She said, well, we could meet in my office. And when we met at her office, we were masked, we were gloved, we were aproned, because we didn't know, but it was definitely affecting. And we said, okay, we'll put it off. We'll put it off. We put the installation off, a year and a half. And then when she got struck down with the COVID, I was like, oh my God. I said, don't worry about it. You just need to get well. And she did. She pulled through like a trooper. Unfortunately for Babette, who was a warm, kind, humorous person, it was his time, but he did have underlying health issues. I kind of like cheer her on because today as we were leaving, I said, you're just going to pass out to bed because this was a big event for her. But it was something that's in her heart and makes her feel good because Babette also would have been part of this. Ben, her other brother who passed away a few years ago, he would have been part of this. And she's just out there alone in that. So I try to support her as much as possible. She's a friend to the community. She's a friend of new people. I mean, she's got children your age, but she is young thinking. She is motivated, and that's what we want this chamber to be, motivated for young entrepreneurs, people who have new ideas, new business. We're not shunning them away. It's never been done before, so let's not do it. It's not broken, so let's not fix it. No, the people that I met like you today were exhilarating. It says to me, we're going forward.
Yeah.
What's ever happened in this past year and a half, it's not going to take us down. It's not going to tear us down. It's going to give us a new way to start things over. So I welcome you to that circle, Dan Santos.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you so
Definitely.
much.
Yes, I feel very proud to be associated with people who are saying, hey, let's try something new. Let's go forward. Let's support each other without those doubting Thomases. This is being brought to you by the Las Vegas Filipino Resource Guide. And today I have Richard Aguila, my buddy in crime, my
Glad to be here.
Medicaid guru, and Dan Santos, who is an inspiring young man who's doing the right thing. The two people that I'm missing today, of course, is Gilbert Glorioso, because he's on the beach of Hawaii with the Wahinis.
That's right.
And Bernie Benito, founding father of the community of the Filipinos. He and I were the first Filipinos, I feel like pilgrims, in the 70s, the 60s and the 70s.
Yeah.
And we're still here to tell the story. It's like we feel like a white beard is coming down. And so it does my heart good to see young people like yourself and young
Thank
people
you,
like...
Loni. Thank you, Loni. I appreciate that. That's right.
That gray hair will fool you.
It's good of you to recognize, you know what I mean?
Yes. I've got pictures of you with dark hair, okay? I could share it with the
Yes.
audience.
Oh, my.
Just give us a call at 702-944-7620. That is our office for the Philippine Resource Guide. And if you need to come by or you're curious about taking advertisement in our fourth issue, because this is our third issue, please give us a call at that number, 702-944-7620, or drop us a Gmail email. Let me give this to you, LasVegasFRG@gmail.com. Let us know that you're hearing the word, you're hearing our voices, and you celebrate with us. I think it's about that time. Yes, it is. Look how time flies when you're having a good time, Johan.
Well, thank you for being with us, sir. Appreciate
Thank you both so much. Looking
Yep.
forward to seeing you more this weekend.
Yes.
Beyond.
Yeah.
Yes, because Ruel is doing the Cavite party at Palace Station on Saturday, so we'll maybe see you all again. Before you know it, we
That's right.
become BFFs because we see each other at all
the
kinds
time.
of events.
All the time.
Yeah. Well, to the audience out there, wish you well, good night, and mabuhay.
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 The Las Vegas Filipino Resource Guide is a vital tool and a helpful media outlet for business enterprises to connect and to reach out to Filipino American consumers. For more information, go to www.lasvegasfrg.com or you can email at lasvegasfrg@gmail.com.
Just like a friend from back home. This is your Filipino radio experience in Las Vegas. PHLV Radio.